flex me a back body. Say, oh, it's another one. It's another one, yeah. It's a full strong, yeah. Oh, it's another one. It's another one, yeah.
Yes. What's good, fight fans in the UK? We're back at iBoxingHub. I'm Mr. Neutral, and I'm delighted and absolutely stoked to present you guys tonight the one and only Jalil Major Hackett and his father, Bernard, Team RHC. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. How are yous?
I'm doing great, man. How are you doing?
I'm very, very well. And I'm absolutely stoked to have you guys on the show. Before we start, I must give a shout out to our sponsors on the show tonight. And that's D-Rock Apparel Clothing. Check them out on the website, guys, all using the audience. And some great gear worn by Joseph Parker, Johnny Nelson, and our very own Jams Boxing Chat, who will no doubt be in the audience tonight. And big up to you, sir. But as I said, I'm absolutely stoked to welcome you two guys to the show. I want to start today's show with yourself, Bernard. As Jalil, you're going to be a young guy with this question. So, Bernard, this is for you, mate. I'm a father. I'm a grandfather, right? Boxing's been my life. I'm sure it has been yours for many a year. When was the point in that you saw something special in your son when I think it was just 5 years old, if my information was correct? What was that moment? Describe that to us.
He decided what he wanted to do. For me, I wanted him to play football, go to college, and do the regular route, so to speak. I was in the gym training other fighters. I was working with other fighters, and he always said, I want to go. I want to go. And it went from tagging along to training to saying, I want to fight. And I tried to discourage him, honestly. And he was playing football. I said, you can't quit football. And he said, I won't quit. And on his 8th birthday, he played a football game that morning and had his first fight that afternoon.
And was it what? And he won that fight?
Yes, sir.
Right. So was that the point then you saw it, you said to yourself, oh damn, my boy's special. Maybe I should take him more seriously. Was that the scenario for you? Because like you said yourself, don't give up the football. You're doing really well. I believe he's a major athlete as well, which we'll talk about in a minute. But from a personal point of view, that must have been a proud moment when you just realised, hell, my boy's got something special, and I'm going to go for it with him. The dedication, the work, the full time, everything that goes into it. Now, it was you were 12, I believe, Jalil, when you turned to the amateurs in your first fight. Is that right? You were a very young boy, 2016.
I was 8 when I had my first amateur fight, but what was that again?
You were 8 years old when you had your first amateur fight. Wow, that's incredible.
Yes, I had my first
Bernard,
fight.
Is my information correct? Is my information correct about Jalil's amateur record here? And I've just been watching it laughing because this is an amazing record. And I'm looking at it and I'm saying, hold on a wee minute. 140 wins to 19 defeats in his whole amateur career. That is some record.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
That is an amazing record. And so that brings me to the point, Jalil, that you from a young age, having that many fights as an amateur, that the transition from going to amateur to pro ranks and getting in that ring, it must have been an absolute breeze for you.
It was. I'm not gonna say it was a breeze. It was a full-on team effort. I took a year away from amateur boxing when I was trying to make that transition into the pros, just to prepare myself to become a pro. training with the pros, sparring with the pros. So, the transition may have looked easy, but it wasn't easy.
Understandably, but Coach Calvin Ford, Javonte Davis, and obviously Leonard Ellaby saw something in you, and and by the way, congratulations last weekend for what I done the watch along for that fight, and it was tremendous performance. I got the feeling you were very comfortable with his power very early on, and you were happy to sit in the pocket and trade the way you did. Because I felt that you were the stronger man all throughout that. And Tony was, Peter was, playing catch up with you. And mate, the way you closed the distance and got your shots off and that, truly tremendous performance. So big up from all of us in the UK. And that is why we had to reach out to you, you guys, and get you over here, because you're hot stuff at the minute, mate. You've signed with Eddie Hun. Oh, I think we've lost them due to technical problems. That's a shame. Hopefully they'll be right back. But yeah, I was just talking about this young man's absolutely incredible amateur record. 140. That's 100, nearly 160 fights that he's had. 140 wins, 19 defeats. Sorry, I don't know where we were at the last fight. So going back to what I was saying there, Jalil, when you signed with Eddie Hun, can you tell us what directions, or was there any hints? Or obviously he would have actually have discussed some kind of route for you to a belt, because for all of us here, you're not far off. You're not far off at a world title fight, even at 21, 22 nearly. That's the sort of standard that people are holding you to. You're happy with that pressure?
Step up in my career, my then 8-rounder with like nothing too.
Oh, that's a shame. We're having terrible technical problems. Just my luck, the Blake must show tonight. God damn you, Elon Musk, or whoever owns the internet. But I'm sure they'll be back shortly. Must be weather, something like that. America is not the weather friendliest of places at the best of times. Just looking at the chat, then let's go to the chat. Let's give a few shout outs to anybody there. Hello, you're back, sir. Let's get a wee connection. Let's see if can you hear me loud and clear, mate?
Yes, we can hear you.
That's better. Absolutely tremendous. Right, where were we up to? I was saying about the is Eddie Hunt give it? How can I say this? What did you feel that the pressure was now as a professional boxer was more prevalent when you were at Mayweather production, or now with Eddie Hunt? Because he's not afraid to throw his fighters in with the big fights. Do you feel you're ready for that next step forward that Eddie can offer you?
Absolutely. The pressure is definitely on. The pressure was actually this fight. I'm young. I'm only 21, and the first fight with Eddie was for it was a big step up for a belt. We fought for the WBA Continental Americas title against a guy who a top 10 welterweight, if I'm not mistaken, and Peter Dobson, coming off of a big fight. He was the main event guy. He fought against
that's right. I watched that.
Conor Ben, who is currently, if I'm not mistaken, number 2 by the WBC, and he put up a hell of a fight against Conor Ben. Some even thought he should be back in a big fight as soon as possible due to his performance against Conor Ben. So for me to go out there and beat him convincingly, put a huge strike on my name. It really upped my rank a
Absolutely.
lot in the welterweight division.
Absolutely, because after when Conor Ben fought Pete Dobson, not many give Conor a chance. He was 16-0 at the time. He had a good knockout ratio as well. So I thought, well, he's done well to come through that, but you dealt with Dobson in a more dominant fashion. So, considering that fight I think that fight was at 154, that he came back, and you've more or less beat that man at 154, which leads me on to you next, Bernard. Are you looking at long-term future for Jalil, that he would become a multi-weight champion in his future? Is that the ultimate goal?
Yes, sir. That ultimately, I want him to win a welterweight title. I think Eddie Hearns and the Matchroom team can make that very possible. If we have the opportunity to unify or become undisputed, that's great. But if not, I do see him going up to 54, 60, and 68. And then we just see what the future holds at that. He has a big frame. He has a lot of talent. But the biggest thing he has on his side is his youth. At 21 years old, with 9 fights to be where he is, he's much further ahead than the average welterweight would be at this point in time. So I think youth, talent, ability, and size are on his side.
Absolutely. I mean, you're quite a tall boy. You're what, 5'11"? That's what I've seen in you. You've got that lovely fluid movement, rangy, incredible work on the inside. I see you moving up. I see you going to, like your father was saying, 160. You've got that range in your frame and your physique. I can see that, no problem. And we're going to see you for many, many, many years yet to come, and it's an incredible journey for you. But let's go back to your actual debut, Jalil, in the pro ranks. Now, if I go to your record very quickly, you made you. Did you make your debut in Washington? Am I right?
No, I made my pro debut
Miami.
June.
Yeah, you Miami.
Yeah.
Angelo Diaz. Your
Yes, sir.
technical knockout, first round. To be fair, you've not given your opponents much chance to judge you properly. Thing, and that shows a lot about your demeanor in the ring. And what I was particularly impressed with is that you show no mercy when you know the hurt, right? I can see that, because that Aaron Pryor comes out in you, sort of boxing, the way he would bunch punches up, from, and you know yourself, Bernard, that that kind of boxer was very well, did very well at that style. But you, and going up to Pete Dobson, you've absolutely dominated there. Is this the reason why you feel that you have to rush now, because Bernard, because Jalil is that far advanced? And let's also add on that you're a very bright young man. Your education levels, I believe, are way above someone of your age. So it's good that you've got something to fall back on after boxing is finished in years to come. But Bernard, do you feel that you don't want him to be stagnant? Something's got to keep moving, keep the machine moving with Jalil over the next 2 years.
Yes, that was one of the big deciding factors to go with Matchroom. I think we spoke to just about everybody in boxing at the top, and the one thing that the Matchroom team, Eddie Hearns and his team, made sure to know that we'll keep you active. A lot of times people will tell you they'll keep you active, or they'll keep a young fighter moving, but Eddie and his team they put their money where their mouth is, so to speak. They put the ink where their mouth was. Their contract said, this is what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. They weren't shy about it. You know, a lot of times promoters will tell you what they plan to do with you. Eddie and the Matchroom team actually put ink what they said, what they would do. And for us, we asked about movement. We asked about potential fights. We asked about the ability to and made all of that happen. It wasn't, you know, in shyness what they did. They actually were direct when they made their say, hey, this is what you all want to do, then let's get it done. And I really appreciate and respect them for that.
Yeah, see, Ed, he's so well regarded over here. The Queensbury mob will disagree, but the majority of boxing fans in the UK know what he's about. He promises everything he delivers. He says he does deliver, and as other well-known boxers have joined Team Matchroom USA, Boots Ennis the other day with his debut as well. Now, what we all want to know in the UK, Jalil, is how do you fancy a Wembley fight one day?
Yeah, definitely. And while we're speaking on the UK, I wore a special shirt. You know, shout out to my guys with the Royal Marines, the Royal Marine boxing team. They come over to the US. They come over to the US boxing, and you know, I got real love for them guys, and they got real love for me. You know, so shout out to them, man. I love to come over across the water to you know, bring a big fight to the UK.
Brilliant, brilliant. And big up the Royal Marines boxing team. I know from personal experience being in the army in my younger days, in the boxing programs, they are tough SOBs, I'll say that. And Jalil, you've been in the best of company when it comes to amateur boxing over here in the UK. And see, you're the kind of boxer that the UK guys love, right? All these Ryan Garcias, all these other guys that are making noise for the wrong reasons. You, and I would say, Kamel and possibly, you know, Floyd Schofield are in that bracket of young men who take their sport seriously. Don't come out with stupid things. Don't, you know, make it all about Twitter and social media. You know, the team there, Coach Kenny. You know, it's a fantastic work ethic that we admire over here, and we've seen it with the likes of Anthony Joshua and other champions that are so serious about the sport that they don't get involved in that social media stuff. And it's refreshing to see that a well-educated young man like yourself can hold his own out there, you know, without getting all thing. You know, just how much the social media, if anything, which I doubt, can be a distraction. Fast discretion to you, Bernard. You've seen other fathers' sons go through some horrendous stuff on social media, and you must obviously have a concern at some point that you know, stupid people will come out and say stupid things.
I think that's in anything you do. I tell my son all the time, it's fine for you and any fighter to get into a back and forth, because at the end of the day, the only potential to fight is for you and that fighter. For me, I try to keep it professional. I try to make sure everything is above board. P. Dobson, he promoted the fight very well. He said a lot of things, and I never took it personally. I knew Pete was doing his job. My son would do his job, and whether that's how he felt or not, at the end of the day, the only two people that are going to punch each other is him and my son. So I don't get into it with fighters. I think as a coach, a parent, and a dignitary to the sport, I think it's our job to let the fighters do what they do, but then us as coaches should be looked at as the father figure to these guys. So him and Pete can argue, or him and another fighter can argue, but if I see that fighter, we're not going to have bad words, because that's not my position. I shake these fighters' hands. I say, hey, great job, or I look forward to what we can do. But if I'm going to argue, I'm going to argue with his coach. And I'm not going to argue with that fighter. That's for my son and that fighter to do. That's not my position.
That's right. That's right. Big up, and that's definitely the attitude to adopt. But Jalil, we can't wait to see you again. Is there any plans within the in 2024, or what's left of it, that we're going to see you again?
Absolutely. I can't put out a date yet, but you'll definitely see me.
Excellent. So again, we're not going to go and see if probe into that, but has there been a lot of pool of names that have been given to you, as something going forward, or is it, like we was discussing before, the ink to the paper, but it has to be wait and see what happens with this fight, blah blah blah.
Right now, we're just taking it step by step. When I first came into the Matchroom team, there was a pool of names sent, but we all came to the agreement that Pete Dobson would be the first guy that I faced as a Matchroom fighter. As you've seen, we got Pete Dobson out of the way. So right now, we're just waiting. Took the week off, just to reset, and we're gonna get back active Monday, and we'll be discussing soon who the next opponent is for me this year.
Superb. I believe you hate being out the gym. According to some Twitter reports, you're itching to get back already. But you have to rest up a little. Let your bones heal, the bruises, whatever, and get back in there. But you must be itching. 2024 is coming to a close. 2025, there's going to be big things for you being planned, I would imagine, by Eddie and his team for Team RHC. And 2025, I think, all things going well, and should he do, we hope to see you in a world title fight at the back end of 2025. Is that a realistic thing to say right now?
It's very realistic, with the landscape of boxing right now, with a lot of guys in the welterweight division either moving up, the guard is kind of changing. So, yes, it's very, very realistic to see me in a world title fight in 2024 or 2025, especially on the back end of 2025.
If we're talking about ambitious fights, how does the prospect of one day a unification with Boots, should he stay at 147 and not chase glories elsewhere in that meantime? Is that a fight that, if it was offered in 2025, that to you, coach, that would, is that one too soon, or would you want that for 2026?
I wouldn't entertain it, from my late days in the amateur career to really my whole pro career. Jerron Ennis and his dad, they've been like mentors to my dad and I as we come up, because everything that we're going through, they've already been through. So, navigate the situation. So, that's a fight that I would entertain.
See, that's what I love. That's that ambition. Now we're losing you a bit there. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Like that's I was great. Saying, like the plan is really to keep on what's going on. Maybe move up soon. When he does, I feel like I'll take over the welterweight division.
I believe you will, because from what I've seen, from what the people I've been speaking to about the welterweight division, It's there for the taking, Jalil. It really is. I want to read some comments from the chat there. Jams boxing chat. Big up, Mr. Neutral. Thank you, Jams. You too. The Major and Bernard. That is a tremendous record in iBoxingHub, obviously, about when we were talking about your amateur record. Jams boxing chat again. Pete Dobson was a very tough matchup for Jalil's ninth fight, but he took it with relative ease. As you know well, no, nothing's easy, but you can't help the audience for translating. You win as they look pretty easy, mate. And Tim Layton of GBT, salute Jalil, great fight. I was there in person with the GBT family. So you got your supporters on there tonight, guys. Coach Pat, Jalil Hackett is next up. Right, we know that, mate. Thanks very much. The fans are loving Jalil over here in the UK, especially after last weekend's performance. That's bloody right, Pat. Jams. So what else we got here? We would love to see in the UK. Absolutely, Wembley Stadium, the O2 Arena. You know, I can see you on a major card in the UK. To be fair, what about a fight with Lithuanian boxer? He's not a bad fight for anybody at welterweight. With Amantis Stanionis, who's ranked number 5 with some of the sanctioning bodies. These and obviously, but Brian Norman Jr. Is he a welterweight? For you?
Yes, sir. Yeah. He currently has the WBO interim welterweight title.
That's right. So, these are potential fights, guys, that, the UK and obviously your home fans are expecting of Team Hackett in the near future, because I believe that America needs another, like you said, Jalil, to pass the torch. Another fantastic welterweight. Boots is there, but I don't think Boots will stay at welterweight too much. Maybe a couple of fights. I can see that moving on. So that 147 division is for years for the taking, but it will be a couple of very hard fights in that. Brian Norman Jr. and Stanionis. Your style is made all day for Stanionis, in my opinion, because for me it's a very similar build, height, stature. But you being the younger man will have that added youth and zest. What kind of a problem does Stanionis present to you, Jalil?
He's definitely a high level fighter. He didn't get to a world title on accident. He had to work to get there. He had the skill set to become a world champion. He's definitely a pressure fighter. I feel like I do very well with pressure fighters, but that's a fight that down the line, if it comes to us, we will not turn it down, and it'll be a great fight that I think I will win.
Great stuff, and that is the essence of making big fights, is not turning them down. Obviously, the money's got to be right, the conditions, so on and so forth. But it's good to see that you as a young man, it's just at 21, it's just you're zero fear of taking on the very best at some point in their careers, because for them to be facing you coming up and you're flying up the ranks, they're like, oh God, who's this guy now? We just got rid of one Crawford. We got to deal with this, and now we got this guy coming through as well. I mean, this is what I mean about passing that torch, passing that flame of victory over to you at 147. I hope you stay there for quite a while to come. Get that unification. As hard as it is for cross promotion fights to happen these days, and that's a good question I need for you, Bernard. How much of a stumbling block is dealing with other promoters in America right now for you?
Well, for me, I don't think it's as hard as people make it seem. I think we have the best promoter in the business. Matchroom is the #1 promotion company globally, and they're shooting up the ranks in the United States. I think that we're gonna take the approach of some of the past champions and some of the current champions. We have a great relationship with Javante Davis, and you never see him chase anybody. I think for me, I want my son to concentrate on becoming the welterweight champion, not putting out this hit list of people, because if we're doing what we're supposed to do, we're getting the promotion the way it's supposed to be done, like Matchroom did in his first fight, then we will become the face of the welterweight division. And when that happens, I think those guys holding titles, the Barrios, the Stanionis, the Brian Norman Juniors, they'll go to their promoter and say, the only way for me to get the big bucks I want, we got to fight him. And when you look at what Eddie Hearns is doing, look at the 5v5. I think 5v5 is going to be the way of the future between these big promoters to get them to agree on things. I can easily see my son Jalil Hackett fighting Brian Norman next year for the WBO title in a 5v5 in Saudi, or maybe bringing it to Wembley Stadium. I think Bob Arum has enough guys that he likes. I know Eddie has enough guys that he likes to make it a great 5v5. I think if that happens and we do what we're supposed to do, it'll work out. Like, our focus is not trying to go to a top ranked fight or go to a PBC fight or go to a Golden Boy fight and call fighters out. At the end of the day, we have promoters. The promoters talk via phone and they figure all that out. So if we go to a fight that one of these guys are fighting in, it's to see what they do, it's to enjoy the fight as a fan. But Eddie Hearns and all of the guys behind the scenes, they'll say, hey, let's make this fight. When the money is right, the fight will be made. You can look in the past. You've seen the big fights happen between Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, Mike Tyson. The money dictates the fights. So our position is, we want to make sure that we're putting the energy into being the best when we fight, and Jalil being the showman that he's supposed to be. And if that is done, those big fights will happen. Like I said, I would love to fight Brian Norman. We sparred with him quite a few times. I think he is our generation. You know, Boots, he's the generation above us. He's the king. Barrios, Stanionis, they may be in that generation. But when it comes to the big fight of our generation as welterweights, that first one to me is Jalil Hackett and Brian Norman, WBO title.
Absolutely, such is the acceleration. And can you give me a sense of what is the difference between the professionalism within the promotional companies that have treated you? Matchroom, as you said, are a massive global company, and knowing the way British people run their companies, it's no messing around. It's very straightforward business. And you know what you're getting. Was there ever a sense of frustration at Mayweather Productions because of the lack of professionality?
I think for us, we had a great opportunity to start his career with Mayweather Promotions. I think it would have been the same with any of the other companies, because I think a lot of fans don't know that you could get at the bottom of the boxing circuit trying to fight your way up before a young fighter like Jalil to get a chance on the main stage to debut and things like that. I think it was great. But where the disconnect came in is the way Jalil wanted to move, the way Jalil wanted his career to go, and the stagnation. A young fighter can't be stagnant. That's professional suicide. So for him, he needed to be moving. When we spoke to the Matchroom team, we literally knew from the beginning when we spoke to them that they were serious about what they wanted to do. They weren't hesitating or taking a long time to do it. And asked us, what do we want? They said, what do you want? Laid on the and they basically came back to us. I think from the time we met to the time we got signed, it may have 3 conversations in a week, because they were straightforward. Everybody else we talked to was, well, if the landscape does this, if this does this, and a couple of tune-ups, and what you want to do. We told them we wanted to do. We weren't against Matchroom being able to build a fighter. We wanted to see we were the good from the beginning. So now if they say, hey, Let's make sure the UK fans, the US fans, the Saudi fans get to know who you are. Give us quality fights, we'll take them. Like I said, 21. But we wanted them to know they were not getting a scared fighter. They wasn't getting somebody that was trying to dodge. We're not trying to protect the O. You know, I've said it in numerous interviews before my son turned pro. I'm not going to tell you he'll finish his career undefeated because I don't know. But I will tell you is every time he step in the ring, he will give you 100% effort and 100% performance.
And that's all you can ever ask. That's all you can ever ask. And it's yes. And that brought me back to my original question. It must have been a proud moment for you. Your son signed with the biggest promotional company in the world with the backing of Turkey Al Sheikh and General Entertainment Authority. You are going to be in the UK. There's no doubt about that, Jalil. And you're going to show them something they haven't probably seen in a long time. A young guy, hungry, afraid of nothing and no one, and says, "Bring me the right conditions, I'll make the fight." Guys, I want to thank you with the bottom of my heart for coming through. I want to wish you both good luck and Team RHC in your future endeavors at 147. We're all going to be keeping a very close eye on you, young man. And Bernard, I'm sure one day we will speak again, especially when you both grace your presence in the UK. My name's Mr. Neutral. This show was sponsored by D-Rock Apparel. Check them out on the website, guys. If you like what you see, make a purchase. There's 40% off, courtesy of iBoxingHub, and just put that iBoxingHub24 code in the promo box. Gentlemen, let's hope we see you again very soon. Good luck for the future, and thank you for coming on Mr. Neutral's Hard Talk USA. And this is Let's Have It, guys.
It's another bang. All the Muslim cars now, whichever get up. I start my scars with a sweet one, please. Someone